Here I am in North Bay, Ontario at the Fur Harvesters auction. There's a huge convention going on here. This is a lot of trappers from all over North America are here. This is where all my fur gets shipped to and sold. Let's go inside and check it out.
Fur Harvesters auction is it's a one-of-a-kind operation. It's owned by the trappers, 50% interest with the native and non-native participation. Years ago, the Ontario Trappers Association always had a convention, and the convention is something that brought trappers from all over North America together once a year. We brought that back the year we started Fur Harvesters Auction in 1991. It's probably one of the most important services we can. It's not really a service, but in a way it is. It brings trappers together. For anybody that's interested in trapping, our convention is pretty well the mecca for a gathering place for trappers.
So once the trapper brings his fur into us, we receive it under his name, and each skin is assigned a barcode ticket, and that's how we track it through the whole process, so that we know at any time when it's in the building we could scan that ticket, look it up to see who it belongs to. So that's how we keep track, and that's how we know whose it is. So then it goes to a respective room in the building. There's a fox room, there's a beaver room, a raccoon room, and where a grader will look at it for quality, color, and size. So the first thing he'll do is size the skin, and they're measured from the end of the nose here to the base of the tail here. And we have different size categories depending on which species it is, and then they're sorted by size. So that's the first process. The next process is the grader would grab one skin and pick it up and look at it for any defects, holes, spots where fur was missing, anything like that. And he would check it over both sides, again to look for anything that was wrong with it. And then he would check to see how dense the fur was, how thick the underfur is, and how much coverage of the guard hair, which is this long stuff. And a prime pelt will have lots of underfur and will be fully covered, so the guard hair completely covers the fur underneath.
My name is Mark Taylor. I work for Fur Harvesters Auction. I've worked for them now for 11 years. I'm the manager of trapper relations, so I look after all the trappers and any issues they might have. And one of the things that I do is trapper education, trapper workshops, pelt handling workshops, stuff like that. I'm a trapper, and I've been trapping since I was 4 years old. I can remember going out with my grandfather, him carrying me on his back, checking muskrat traps in a marsh. So like Andrew up here, I've been heavily involved in the trapping industry for a long time, and started my love for trapping at a really young age, and it continues on with me, and probably something that I'll never stop doing as long as I can.
Fur Harvesters NWT wouldn't be possible without Fur Harvesters Auction, selling your fur to the world. Buffalo Airways, the home of the ice pilots. All internet equipment was brought to you by Cascom and Galaxy Broadband, and cruise accommodations were provided by Greenway Realty.
Okay, so what I'm checking right now is I just took his trapper's license, and so all the fur that we receive from Ontario here, we have to make sure that the guy's a legal trapper. We just can't take fur from somebody that doesn't have a trapper's license. So Bruce here just showed me his license. Bruce is from Dunchurch, Ontario, which is between Sunridge and Parry Sound. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just writing his information out onto a receipt. Bruce, let's just go through this. So we have 22 beaver, 1 mink, 7 marten, 2 otter, 7 fisher, 2 raccoon, and 28 ounce of castor. Thanks very much. Okay, So now we go and they enter it into the computer. What she does is she punches in the guy's name and his account number and then exactly how many pelts he has. Then the computer spits out these skin tickets and then we attach them to each pelt. Each skin ticket has a barcode with an alphanumeric number on it. And this is the way we track who owns which furs. So we put that on his caster. And we attach it with staples so it can go through the whole process without falling off. The way our system works, we work around a 4-sale year. So part of the sale is receiving all the fur. And that's what we do this, and we work very heavy receiving fur for about probably 3 weeks. Then once all the fur is received, then we start grading it. And so like I'm a fox grader, so once the receiving done, then we grade it. And then once the grading is done, it's all counted and lotted, and these barcodes are scanned into lots. So each trapper gets paid exactly what he shipped us. And then, you know, we're involved in the auction and, you know, going to Helsinki and auctioning it and whatnot. So, and then we ship it all out. So it's not, the nice thing about this job here is you don't do the same thing day after day after day. You're always doing something different. You might be doing, you know, receiving for a few weeks and then grading for a few weeks, but it all revolves around the sale cycle. Sometimes they stick together, so when you're finished, you should have no tickets left. Every pelt needs a ticket. If you are finished and you got extra tickets, you got to start looking for one. And if you don't have enough, you got to start recounting them. So now we just put them away in the bins with the other trappers' goods, like all these marten go over here. So the otter go with the otter. The coon go with the coon. Mink goes with the mink.
I remember when I was young, I looked forward to one of the best cat trappers I ever knew. Johnny Kingston would come from Texas. And another buddy of mine, Frank Phillips, would come from Labrador. And we'd always meet together and have beers at night, talk about what happened the last year. That was the only time we get to see each other. And to me, that's what the convention's all about. It's camaraderie, fellowship, but it's probably the most valuable venue to get together for trappers to learn stuff. Anybody that's seeking knowledge for trapping, the Fur Harvesters Trapping Convention, there's nothing like it in the Dominion of Canada, or in the world for that matter, because you got the best trappers around North America. We get the best guys to do the seminars, the guys that are really good at their craft, catch a lot of animals, best fur handlers.
Minus 40 below. You can walk around, but it's friggin' cold. Left 3 days ago. Dogs in a blizzard snow. People said it's crazy. Must have missed his family.
I think women in trapping is an important thing. Growing up, I have 2 younger sisters, and my dad never made it a gender thing, and I think too many people make it a gender thing. I always say, well, there's soccer, there's guys that play soccer, there's girls that play soccer. It's the same game. There's not a difference between it. And I think too many people think, oh, I have a daughter, she's not going to be interested, or she's going to be grossed out. And you can't look at it like that. A woman that's not, she hasn't a trapper, or she wants to get into trapping, but she doesn't know how. I think just asking questions And even though you might be put off by some people, you can't stop. My sister-in-law, she's a trapper. You know, there's lots of female trappers out there. Well, both my sister-in-laws, I should say, are trappers. And you need to ask questions. You need to find the right person.
If you want to become a better trapper and a better fur handler, is try and get out on the line with somebody that's been trapping for a long time and learn all of their experiences and their combined knowledge that they've learned from all the trappers that they've dealt with in their lives. So one of the nice things about the job that I have is I'm in contact with thousands of trappers, some of the best in Canada, some of the best in the States, and I've gotten to learn a lot from them, and I take that knowledge and apply it to myself and plus to the students and the people that I teach in my workshops.
So here we're in one of the largest of our 4 coolers that we have in the warehouse, and this is where all the fur is kept, usually just above freezing to keep it from spoiling. So we have 4. This, like I said, this is the largest, and what we see hanging up here are all the samples, and this is what the buyers will look at when they come to the auction and decide what they want to buy. So these are samples. So when the fur is graded, it's divided into lots depending on quality, color, size, density of fur, and all that stuff. And they're put into bundles, and there might be 100 skins in a bundle, but the buyer actually only looks at a representative sample, which is 8 skins out of that 100 skins. So up here on the end, we have some lynx pelts on this end of the rack, and then down further where you see the real spotted bellies, the white with the black spots, those are bobcats. And we get bobcats from all over North America, from Ontario. A lot come from New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, right across to the western states. Some of the nicest cats coming from Montana and in the mountains over there. This is a skunk, the striped skunk. They use them a lot for just novelty items. They'll use the stripe part here, the back of the skunk, and put it on a set of mitts, leather mitts, you know, and then have the skunk top on the back so it looks kind of cool. Or they'll make fur hats and stuff like that. These guys here are badgers. Some of the uses of badgers are like men's shaving brushes, you know, that you put the shaving cream on with. They use badger fur. Plus high-end artist paint brushes are made out of badger. So what we're looking at here are some ranch foxes. The difference between the ranch fox and the wild foxes that we have here at the auction house, the ranch foxes are grown on fur farms specifically for their fur. There's more of a control on the fur. They're not out in the elements. They're kept in pens with roofs over them. They're fed and watered daily, so they have really nice coats compared to the wild stuff that they're out fending for themselves and battling the elements and running through the bush and stuff. So they have much nicer fur. Plus they're also grown to be larger skins than what the wild foxes would be, so that helps as well. These guys are red squirrels. And again, they could use them for linings. The other major use of red squirrels are the tails, and they're used for fishing lures. So the hair, mep spinners, things like that. That's what they use squirrel tails for. And above us we have more bobcats, and with the nice white bellies. They make a really nice coat. What they do is they'll cut the belly strip out of the bobcat and sew a whole bunch of them together to make a coat. Other than something like polar bear or grizzly bears, bobcats are our highest selling fur right now, and some of the top bobcats sell for over $1,500 a skin. These would be northern Canada wolves probably, something like Andrew might catch. The nice tundra wolves, up in the barren grounds, they, nice and white, they could go for about $500 US. But the tawnier ones, more like the brush type wolves, the darker colors, they could go $250, $300 for a nice one. And they're used a lot for the trim industry around coats, hoods, and stuff like that. So, years ago, one of the main uses for black bears was the English Royal Guard, and the guardsmen that would stand still at the towers. We saw them with the big black hats, and they'd stand real still and they couldn't move. Those were called busbies. That's the hat that they were wearing, and they were all originally made from black bear fur. Until they decided that they no longer wanted to use black bears, and they switched to synthetic fur, which basically eliminated most of the black bear market, so now black bears are primarily sold for just taxidermy. So these are, you know, good ones, probably $300–400. A lot of times used for taxidermy, so the feet and claws have to be left on. They put it into a full mount. And the other thing that Wolverines are well known for is being really excellent parka trim. It's one of the only furs, probably the only fur that doesn't frost up when your breath goes on it, you know, and so really sought after in that respect. This is a grizzly. So I always show people, I've taken a few pictures, but that's the size of my hand against those claws. They're probably 3–3.5 inches long on their front. So you can understand why they can do some damage if they got a hold of you.
Closed captioning for this program is brought to you by Fur Harvesters Auction, selling your fur to the world.
It's a lot of fur, man. A lot of choppers work real hard for like all this. That's crazy. Look at that. Like there's millions of dollars worth of fur in this room alone. Like millions, not thousands, millions. I like them Arctic foxes, man. Those are nice.
Thank you.
Guess the weight of the beaver. I'm gonna have to.
Have a guess?
Yeah, I'll have a guess.
Tickets are there, and just rate the weight on the back, pounds and ounces. You're welcome to pick it up.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to 53.5 pounds.
My first time here. I've never been here. Don't know what to expect. My wife wants a fur coat. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna find out a little bit about the furs, how I need to flesh them, and especially black bears. There's not too much information on black bears, and we got lots of black bears back Sudbury. So I was picking his brain too. So yeah. So education, I guess, is the big thing why I'm here. It was a random search on YouTube is what it was. You know. All us guys are starting to trap, you know, we just do search and video. And it came up and started watching, and we noticed he had a whole bunch of videos, so started watching them, and they were educational, and I learned a lot from them, and then I started following him. My kids started to follow Charlie, so we heard he was coming here to the convention in North Bay, so we drove all the way from Sudbury to come and see him, so yeah, it's a blast. It's a little shorter than I thought he was, actually.
The Jules Parent Award is it's our most prestigious award. It's gone to some really good men over the years. What it stands for is Jules Parent Award, presented annually to that individual for their contribution to the promotion of the trapping industry and to the conservation of fur bears and their habitat. Andrew Stanley. And he's done more on his own to promote trapping to the non-educated public, to kids that now aspire to want to be trappers, because we had all kinds of kids and their families and come here with their kids just to meet this guy. So with no further ado, I want to bring up a guy that I want a big standing ovation. This guy's done so much on his own in an area that's really harsh environment, and he deserves a lot of credit, and we hope that the show goes really, really well, and it's a credit to him. Andrew Stanley, Hay River, Northwest Territories.
It's a real honor to be here in North Bay, Ontario, with all these fine people here. Good people, everyone's friendly. This is kind of the last place I thought I'd ever end up, you know, coming from my cabin in the north with me and Charlie Dog, sitting there hanging out by myself. And like I say, this is the last place I thought I'd end up, but here I am, so it's awesome, man. That's all I'm going to say about that. Totally awesome.
Fur Harvesters NWT wouldn't be possible without Fur Harvesters Auction, selling your fur to the world. Buffalo Airways, the home of the ice pilots. All internet equipment was brought to you by Cascom and Galaxy Broadband, and cruise accommodations were provided by Greenway Realty.
Well, buddy, it's been a pleasure having you here. I hope you've enjoyed your time as much as we've enjoyed having you. On behalf of myself, Taylor, congratulations on your award. It's quite an honor to get that, and I can't think of anybody more deserving than you. And I think to top it off, I'd like to invite you to my camp at West Arm. Taylor and I go with you, and we can catch some beavers, have some beers, exchange stories, have a good time, and you can kind of see our part of the neighborhood, the way we trap our kind of country.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to come out with you guys and see how you guys do your trapping here in North Bay. I'm sure it's a lot different than back home where I'm from, so let's go out and check it out, and we'll have a blast.
All right, we'll finish the dance off, get some sleep, maybe sleep in a little bit in the morning, head out around 10 o'clock for camp. All right?
Sounds good, man. Sounds
Okay.
good. Taylor, it was a privilege. I'm happy to be here with you guys. I'm honored to accept the award. So can't wait to get home and tell everyone back home in the NWT about my experience here at the convention, and it's just a great event.